Hey everyone, '06 boys, Elite One. Little recap here. To start off, we've got a few things that I got to go through, and hopefully I don't forget anything as I'm trying to go through this video. First one being, we've got a new training schedule for next week, starting Monday the 23rd. We will be at Trinity all 4 nights, with Monday being 6:30 to 7:30 as it has been, no change there, and we will stay indoors. And then the other 3 nights will go 6:45 to 8 on Trinity 1 on the turf. So, yeah, exciting change. We'll be out there training soon. Ahead of our game with Hoosier that did get moved from that following weekend up to the last weekend in September. Saturday, I believe that's the 28th. 5:30 evening game there. I had not heard from anybody that they couldn't make it, so we'll play that weekend instead. And then what else? We've got Sport U. Sport U is an app that we are changing to and using. So I know we have Team Snap that the '06 that you guys currently use, and it's been great. There's nothing wrong with Team Snap, except when we are using it on a large scale, looking at 100 teams, there's some things that it could not do that we need for communication tools. So for Sport U, we'll roll that out, and you'll be able to register and sign up for it just like you did Team Snap, and we can input everything on there and use it the same way that we're using Team Snap right now, except for it would be a different program, so on our end that we can communicate more effectively. In the past, we've used the text system, which had some issues. Some people loved it and it worked great, which was awesome, but some people never got those texts even though they signed up for them, and there were issues with the messaging system. Now, since we've changed over our website, the new messaging system was way worse. It did not work well at all that first week, and we've been looking into a couple different apps that we can use to get urgent notifications out quickly. We'll still use email for most communication, but trying to get this, the weather alerts and last minute changes type of things will be used via this Sports U app. And we'll create the teams and everything else on there. So we will be in the process of changing that over. And I believe that's it for the updates. Maybe I had one more thing. I'll think of it. For our team, for our game recaps. So we went out to Dayton. So we got back from Michigan. Had a nice tournament up in Michigan. Didn't score as many goals as we had hoped. Came home from Michigan and worked 2 weeks straight on finishing in training. And every day we did some sort of finishing, some sort of goal scoring activity. And we went into Dayton against Metro, and then we had to play on that field, which was atrocious. The grass is super tall. I was worried during our warm-up we could barely pass the ball, so not a very good scenario. But up in Michigan, the last game in Michigan, we did a nice job with our work rate defensively and just committing ourselves to doing more on the field. So I wanted to continue that. So we went into the Metro game making sure that we worked harder than the other team, and we did that. I was impressed with our boys that we were actually able to keep possession quite well despite the tall grass. When it was 0-0 early on in the game, we created multiple chances. We did a few things wrong, so we didn't quite score. A little bit positioning, a little bit the types of service we were giving each other, the types who was serving the ball. So if our target forward got dragged out wide, then what does that mean for the other players? Or if our wide player's out wide, then what does that mean for our target forward? And how do people relate to each other and their positions? And we were just making some mistakes there, so we didn't quite get those goals. 2 suspect goals against us, the penalty, and then turned around and the offside potential call. But we should have done better with both of them. We were 2v1 on the first one that led to the penalty, and we were 2v2 on the second one, and we we just played the counterattack incorrectly. So we spoke about that, tried to correct it, and tried to go forward. So good news is we're getting quite good at possession. We're getting quite good keeping the ball and the movement without the ball to make it look a little more like actual soccer. Bad news is there's a give and take with that. Then it opens us up to the counterattack, so we have to be able to defend that when we're committing so many numbers higher with the ball. So then we turned around, had a quick turnaround, and played our first games on Trinity, which were fantastic. I think we just ran over Michigan Lightning. They were asking some of the players and some of the parents asked if they had the same team. That was the full team. That was the exact same team. The big kid, that was their target. He started as their left forward, and they moved him to the center forward. That was the kid that gave us so much problems, and that was the same team that we couldn't score on, just back in March. And I just want to reiterate how bad we were back in March. We had a bad weekend coming out of the winter. So that was not the case this time. We started off great, got an early goal, which was great, and got the ball rolling for us. So 6-0 winners on the verge of 10, 15. It could have been anything. So that made a statement. The other coaches all came up to me and they said they were at that game or they were in and around that game. So there were quite a few people that were watching us in that game. I think we made some people nervous for the rest of the weekend. Sunday morning we had Liverpool. And I attribute that, I think that's the best team that we've played so far. I think that Liverpool team is better than those teams that we played up in Michigan at the tournament. But we did a terrific job of smothering their attack. It was great. The defensive work rate, the amount, the professionals have little tags on them and they track how many miles they run during games. In that game against Liverpool, if we tracked our players, that would have been the most ground covered for every player on our team, bar none. It was more work than what they're used to putting in. It was more work than they had ever put in before, including some of our big wins in the past. Because we didn't sit back and defend. We went at them and we tried to cover ground, and we did, and it was fantastic, and got a goal to boot. So terrific. That's a great win for us, a 1-0 win. My guess is Liverpool does not lose to anyone else the rest of the time. They're kids, so they might, and they have to go to Metro to play on that tall grass field, so they might struggle there as well. But yeah, that was a very good team. So what a great result for us. Unfortunately, that third game on Sunday, I think that was the weakest of the teams that we've played in our league so far. Not to say they were a bad team, but they were not at the level as the other teams were. And we just didn't have our legs. So the way that we smothered Michigan Lightning and Liverpool, we were just exhausted. 3 games in the weekend was too much. So that could go on me. I wanted to not travel to Michigan. I wanted all of them to come to us. So I made that happen in the scheduling meeting. And part of that was that we had to do all 3 in the same weekend. So competitively, I think it hurt us. If we caught Michigan burn on a day where we were fresh, where we only had 1 game in the day, yeah, I think it would have been bad news for them. So, especially on our new turf. So, but a 1-1 tie. I thought we earned a good goal. That goal at the end, it was just a referee mistake. He came over to apologize. He said he felt sick to his stomach after he blew the call, but he had already blown it at that point. So, yeah, the advantage rule is if there's a foul, you don't have to blow your whistle right away, which I know that upsets a lot of parents and fans sometimes because you watch a game and he waits and waits and waits to call the foul, but that's actually the correct way to play, because if he would have waited another 1 or 2 seconds, then the ball would have went in the net and he wouldn't have had to call the foul. He could still come back and yellow card the player who committed the foul, but our goal would have stood and we would have come away 2-1 winners. He came over, he apologized, he messed it up, so we deal with it, we move on. So 1-1 tie instead. Now we've got a week of training here at McCordsville this week, and this will be our last week, like I said, and then we are headed to Harrison, Indiana to play TFA, which I understand is on a grass field that's not the best kept either, but we are going to try to put the work rate in. We are going to try to smother them defensively and continue to work on our movement in the attack, and hopefully we could keep these goals rolling in. So I'll put some details about the rest of that in the email, but as usual, if you have any questions, let me know, and thanks for sitting through 10 minutes of this. But yeah, I'm buzzing. The guys are playing well. I'm super happy for them, and hopefully we continue good performances, and those results will come after those good performances.